Hello, everybody, and welcome to the True Love Talk channel. Here we want to learn about human sexuality and love based on the teachings that Pope John Paul II left in the Theology of the Body. I am Elisa, and today we're going to talk about the values of modernity, which are freedom, independence, and autonomy. So, let's begin. Okay, so to understand why independence, freedom, and autonomy become the most important values of modernity, we have to understand where does modernity come from. Basically, remember that modernity starts with the illustration, right? And the illustration is basically almost like a revolution or a reaction to the Middle Ages. And the Middle Ages are considered bad because it is seen, it is perceived that in the Middle Ages, religion has taken control, absolute control, and absolute power over the life of people. And basically, in modernity, people are trying to tell others to remember, are trying to make others remember that they are responsible for their own lives, that they cannot give up their responsibility and their freedom to somebody else just because it's far more comfortable if somebody else decides decides what I'm supposed to do. If I don't have to decide for myself, but somebody else does the hard work for me. What I don't think is so accurate is the idea that only religion takes control over the person's life. People give up their freedom and their responsibility to a number of different things. Like it could be a group of friends that are in themselves very liberal and free thinkers and very, I don't know, modern, right? A person can give up their freedom and their and their responsibility to them. They can give it up to atheist ideologies such as communism or, I don't know, Buddhism. The New Age in itself is atheist, and yet there are a lot of people nowadays who have given their control, total control, and their freedom to these kind of groups and this type of ideologies. Is not so much like these groups trying to take control of the person's life, is more that the person does not want to be responsible, either because it's too hard work or because they are scared or because they don't know what to do or all of the above. And the thing is, it's easier to give that control to somebody else. So what is really interesting and what is really good about these values of modernity is that it emphasizes on the responsibility that each person has with their own lives and how this responsibility cannot be given up and cannot be put on somebody else, right? It reminds people that they need to make their own judgments and make their own decisions. But it has as a problem that these values make responsibility and maturity and freedom look like the same as loneliness and independence. That is what independence is in the same kind of values, or in the same, yes, in the same values. People, just because people are lonely and are independent doesn't mean that they are responsible, first of all. But second, sometimes the reaction against the ideas, the values, the the circumstances that other can give is such that the essence of sexuality ends up being attacked. Remember that in the last video I told you that sexuality, the essence of sexuality is the capacity of creating meaningful relationships with others. But for that, I need to be able to choose to create common life projects with somebody else, especially with the most meaningful relationships of all, which are romantic relationships, the relationships with the significant other, and family relationships. To create a romantic relationship, to create a marriage, I have to give up myself as an I, and I have to become an us, right? It's not just what I want, it's what we want. And the point is, this doesn't mean that I am giving up my freedom or that I am giving up my responsibility. I have to be responsible to choose the other person. I have to be free to choose the other person. And just because somebody else already thought about an idea doesn't mean that I cannot choose it again. It is irresponsible of me if I don't have a criteria and I don't do the exercise of judging if these are the values that I want to follow. But if I have made my homework, right, and I have realized that this is what I want to do and that this makes sense, choosing the same as somebody else is actually an act of freedom and an act of responsibility, right? However, in modernity, people are supposed to not trust this relationship so much, and basically their relationship with the other person becomes a little bit dangerous because it could be a source of control and of losing power of one's own life, right? That is why in modernity human beings stop being people to become individuals. And they're individuals because they're literally packed in an individual package, right? They are not, we are not supposed to care so much about the other person, or at least we're not supposed to sacrifice that much for somebody else. I would like us to compare this idea of the modern individual with the responsible interdependence. In, to be interdependent means understanding that there are things that I can do that others cannot do, and I can serve others by doing this that I can and they cannot. But it also means understanding that I cannot do everything, and there are things that others can do that I cannot, and that if we each give to everybody else that we can do, we can all have everything without having to be able to do everything or having to have to do everything, right? But this takes a great responsibility because I have to understand that others depend on me as much as I depend on others, and that I have to be responsible for myself, for my actions, that I have to be a mature person, that I have to be an uh, autonomous person. Because society cannot be behind me telling me to, hey, come on, work because we need you to work. I have to know that I need to work for others, right? So when a person is an independent, responsible person, an interdependent, sorry, interdependent and responsible person, they have that good part of modernity, which is the responsibility for their own lives, but they don't lose that important part of human sexuality. And remember that human sexuality is the essence of who we are because we are created for love, and our lives have no meaning if we don't have love. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, but in the next video we are going to talk about the castration complex, which is an idea that I have developed based on this idea of the modern individual. So see you in the next video. It was great to see that you kept decided to keep watching it until the end. And if you have any questions or any comment, please write it down in the comment section. I will answer it as soon as possible. And well, see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Lots of blessings for everybody. Bye.